Welcome to Productivity to Profit. I'm so excited today. My guest today is Carden, and she is the CEO of Carden Inc. She is a strategist, business growth, and marketing consultant, a three-time author, and a #1 international best-selling author. She's a speaker and also a podcast host, and has more than 41 years of business, marketing, and sales experience, 13 years of corporate business management, and 29 years of building 6 businesses. She has worked with hundreds of business owners and entrepreneurs for the past 10 years, consulting and coaching them to more success. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you. Thank you. I am so excited to be here with you, Cathy. Thanks for having me on.
I am so excited to have you. This is something I've been waiting for a long time. So I'm really excited that we're finally here.
Oh, thanks.
So why don't you tell me, just to get started, let's talk about, why you because with your corporate business, your corporate years in corporate, and then, you built all these wonderful, successful businesses that you've sold. And now you've been spending, the last so many years, working with entrepreneurs and small business owners. So why do you like working with those type of people?
Oh my goodness, that's such a great question. Well, you make it sound like, oh, business was so easy all of those years. And that's why I had all this success. And I was really blessed to have a lot of success. But here's the reality. It was not always easy. And I made a ton of mistakes, more than I even care to talk about. But I'll talk about them anyway. So what I find is that most people in small business, they start their business out of a passion, or they're good at something, right? That's how I started. And what they do, they get into business and they find out that there's just a lot more to it. There's a lot of moving parts. And I came from corporate, I came from retail. I worked for a multi-billion-dollar corporation, managing multi-million-dollar departments for them. And I managed everything. I hired my own people. I ran my own events. I was totally responsible for those departments as if they were my own retail store. But they did mostly the marketing. They gave us the training and the tools that we needed to be successful in that position. But when I started my own business, guess what? It didn't all transfer. It didn't all translate into having your own business, completely 100%. And so I made a lot of mistakes. And I found out really the hard way, all the pitfalls and the wasted money, and not, thinking that if I had money in my bank account, it was all good, right? You work with those people. Now I work with those people too. But truly we have such an opportunity in our business. As I've been able to sell 5 of the 6 businesses that I have built, we've been able to have financial freedom. We live a debt-free life. We have investments, we have retirement, we have all of these things that came from my businesses, basically all the hard work. Now, of course, my husband contributed to that too, but he always worked a job where, his income was set, right? But with business, we can build our own wealth and we can build the life we want. And that's my heart, is to get people to think bigger and to really build their business into something, build it into an asset that is going to change your life. Not just in the future, but even today. You don't have limits, right? In the money you can make, and even in the freedom that you can have. And I just love it. I just love business. I used to not. I actually used to tell people, oh, I love what I do, but I hate the business stuff. And that's because I struggled with a lot of things through the years. So about 10 years ago, as I became such a student of business and marketing and sales and just really dove into that and wanted to learn everything I could, I found an opportunity because I studied all that and I worked all that. And the great thing is I could apply it to my businesses as I was learning it. And I found that a lot of people didn't have that knowledge. And they struggled with all the same things. And so that's really what brought me into working with people in business.
Yeah, well, a couple things that, you did say is, um, we just don't know. When we start our own business, we know our skills, we know our talents, but we just don't know the business. And
Right.
until you've gone through those failures and those hard times, I say this so often that, if someone had told me when I started my business, 17 years ago, if they would have told me how much learning I would have had involved in running a business, I probably
Right.
would have said, no way,
Right.
but
Right.
but I eat it up now. I want it because it's kind of like become who I am now, learning and
Mhm.
expanding and growing my knowledge so that I can help, like you, other small business owners. So,
Absolutely.
as we're talking about, you and I both know that 87% of businesses fail in 10 years. And the ones that do survive, only 3% of the owners make over $100,000 K.
Right.
So why do I'd like to hear your input on why you think that happens.
I think it goes back to what we were just talking about. People get into business thinking that, they can just go do their thing and everything will, as long as I can just get customers and clients, it's all good, right? And I think that that can work to a point. But the problem with that is for most business owners, they'll become exhausted. And so they, like I think about in my first business, I came to a crossroads, which every business owner will come to this, where I either grow or I get out because this is not fun, right? I'm exhausted. I'm working harder for myself than I ever worked for a paycheck, and sometimes even for less money. Because by the time you put money into marketing and you put, money into all the things that you have to build your business, which in most cases it is marketing. That's what you really have to put your money into to begin with. By the time you do that, a lot of times, or even your cost of goods, there's not always a lot left, right? And so you're wondering, how can I be working all these hours? How can I be doing all of this and not making better money than I could make working for someone else? And so you hit this crossroads in your business where, okay, I either grow this thing or I change what I'm doing because it's not working anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired of giving it my life. I'm tired of sacrificing my family. I'm tired. We work with those people now, right? But I was that person. And so I think people don't take that, they don't take that next step to, okay, how do I need to grow this so that this situation changes, so that I become profitable, so I'm making good money, so I build a sustainable business that can be around for a lot of years to come. And most people don't think like that. And I think that is exactly why businesses fail. They either burn out or they just are tired of not making any money. It just never goes anywhere for them. And they're barely scraping by. And I think that's the real reason. They don't know how to get their business to that next level without losing it. And you bring up a good point. I mean, years ago, we didn't have the luxury of a coach. I didn't know any business coaches. If I wanted to learn anything about business, I had to go buy a book, or I had to order something, a program of some kind, or I had to, at that time, I didn't even really know about conferences because we didn't have everything at our fingertips like we do now with technology. So I didn't have the exposure to all the things that were probably available that I just didn't know about. Today, though, Cathy, I just have to say, and I mean this truly from a kind place in my heart, there's no excuse for businesses to fail in the marketplace today, because there are people like me and there are people like you that can help them be sustainable. I can give my 41 years of experience to someone and guide them every step of the way so they don't have to fail. And you're able to do that too. So I think my bigger question would be, why do they let themselves fail?
Yeah, I think that's just a perfect question because, as you said, there is so much out there, so much available. And, you and I have coaches now, when we started, like you said, we didn't have them. And, there is so much available, but I think it's, the fear of, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do, and thinking we have to do it alone. I think
Yes.
that's one of the biggest struggles.
Mhm.
I know that you have a 6-step process to help businesses be more successful. Can you share that with us?
I would love to. This is a process I created out of, again, all of my experience and working with hundreds of business owners. And I'm like, how can I sort of, streamline this and let them see exactly what they need to do, the step-by-step thing in their business. Now, of course, there's a lot of moving parts in each one of these steps. But yes, let me break this down for you. And I call it my scale like a boss system. And the reason is because there's a difference. And so let me just back up a little bit. The old way of building businesses is growth, is traditional growth. So it's a business model that quite honestly keeps people on the hamster wheel of broke and stressed out and burned out. But the new way of scaling, and a lot of this is due to technology that we have today, or the new way of growth, I should say, is to scale. And scaling your business. So the traditional growth method is like market, sell, deliver, market, sell, deliver, market, sell, deliver. That's it. Okay. And then try to make a profit in there. But so I'm just going to use an example before I share my system. So I'm just going to use an example here of, let's say, a plumbing company. So they know that they have to go out and get customers. So they market, and then they have to close the customer, right? And they're selling, and then they have to go deliver. They have to deliver the service. The problem with that method is as they get more customers, now they have to hire another plumber. And as they hire another plumber, now they've got to go out and get a new truck. And they've got to go out and they've got to get a new iPad for them and another phone and on and on. So like I did a breakdown for a plumbing company at one time that I was working with. It was $168,000 to bring in a new plumber. That's what their cost was going to be. By the time you paid the benefits, you got the truck, you did everything that you needed to do. You inventory, you put inventory on the truck. Most business owners don't ever do the math like this. And so $168,000. Now you have to do a lot of sales because if your profit margins, let's say, are 50%, now how much do you have to bring in to even break even on that plumber? 20, maybe $30,000, right? To even break even before you make a dime on that plumber. And so the faster way to grow a business now, and the new way, is to start looking to scale. And scaling a business is about finding those opportunities for really high profits that can take your business to new levels without all the cost. And so that's why I created this method, because there's so many ways people could add income streams or create new revenue in their business, but they miss out. And so if they leave a lot of money on the table, you see it as well, because I know you help people be profitable and productive. And those are two ways that you need to look at scaling versus traditional growth. But when business owners are in growth mode, they don't have the time to figure all this stuff out, right? And they don't even know what they don't know. And so that was the reason I came up with this process. So let me walk through it. So the first step is to visualize. It's to know where you want to go. I've been able to sell 5 of the 6 businesses I've built. And I had the idea when I was building those that would be my end goal for those businesses, that I would want to sell them to help fund my retirement and help me be financially free. And so you have to know what you're trying to accomplish with your business. And most business owners don't even do this most fundamental piece to building a business. And if you don't know where you're going to go, well, then good luck getting there, because you will go through every pitfall, every valley, you'll have no direction. I always say visualize is like your GPS. So if you know that you want to sell your business someday, now that's your course, right? And every decision that you make should be moving you towards that course, towards that end result. If you want to franchise your business, every decision you make should be moving you towards being able to franchise or expand nationally or whatever that is. And most people fly by the seat of their pants in their business. And I don't mean that disrespectful. I did the same thing. And they have no course. They have no GPS. They have no direction. They're just out there doing whatever gets thrown at them every single day. And it's why they burn out. It's why they scrape by. It's why they don't get to where they want. A lot of them don't even know where they want to go, right? So that's the visualize part. First, you have to know where you're trying to go. And then you can you want to analyze, okay, where am I now? So this is the process I take my clients through. So first, okay, what do you want? What's the end thing we're trying to get to here? Now let's look at where you are. Let's look at what is keeping you from getting to that. Do you just not have a plan? Are there gaps? Are there things missing? What's causing you, or holding you back from getting to that result that you want? And so that's the analyze phase where we kind of dig deep and we figure out, okay, what is it that you need to get in place to get what you want? The third piece of this is to strategize. Okay, now we know where you're going, we know where you're at, we know what's holding you back or what your opportunities are. I like to say not just gaps, but also opportunities to scale. And so now let's put the strategy in place. So strategize is the third step. So we've got visualize, analyze, strategize. The fourth thing that I absolutely love, this is one of my favorite things to do, and you do, I know a little bit of this too, is monetize. So now everyone in business is leaving money on the table somewhere. They have hidden money, hidden revenue, hidden profits, hidden money in their business. And so one of the first things I like to do is let's find the money. The first 30 days I work with you, let's just pay for me. Let's just make you the money so that I'm not an expense to you in any way, shape, or form. That's always my goal. And so I look for the opportunities that they have. So I'll look for ways that maybe, okay, what are you paying for that you shouldn't be? What can we get you better, lower cost on? There's so many ways. There's probably 75 ways that I can go in and help a business monetize in the first 30 days. How can we leverage your email list and create a marketing campaign? How can we put a push behind a certain product that can totally blow up your revenue? I like to look for high ticket opportunities. What's your highest ticket thing? Is that profitable? It can be raising your prices. There's so many ways. Do you have an upsell or a cross sell in place? Are you leaving a lot of money on the table because you're not closing sales? So all of these things are what I like to call rapid, fast ways of making money in a business. And so we look for the ways to monetize what they're already doing without spending much more. I could get their marketing working better. They're probably already spending money on marketing. Well, how can we make that work better? And so that's a big piece of it. So how can we monetize in your business? So that's step number 4. And then once I like to call it squeeze the money out of their business, because really until you do that, there's no point in doing anything else. So let's squeeze what you've already got going. And let's give you all the money that we can out of your business right now without really doing much except leveraging what you've already got going. The 5th step is to optimize. And this is where you really, I know, come in with them. And I do this with them as well. Okay, let's look at the production. Let's look at the productivity of your people. Let's look at your profitability. Of course, some of the monetize and optimize they flow into each other. So there's some overlap there. But the optimize is about finding the opportunities that you are missing out on in your business, where you can leverage and make more. So this could be adding automation, adding systems, All of these things can help them optimize their business. So the optimize phase isn't just about the money, making more money with what you're doing, but the optimize phase is also, this is where your freedom, this is your time. This is where you get the hours back. And if you don't implement systems, if you don't get the processes in place, if you're touching things too many times, a good example of this is one of my clients that I worked with that had a large company. They were just over and over and over touching their contracts too many times. There wasn't a clear system. And so as a result, they really were just kind of spinning their wheels, and they were losing things. Things were falling through the cracks. I worked with a lot of people like that, where maybe they had this massive growth, and all of a sudden they had no systems, no foundation, and all of a sudden their customer service went to horrible. They were losing customers, they were returning money. All of these things, the chaos that goes on when a business is in growth mode. So the optimize phase helps them fix all of that. And then the sixth step is, okay, now we've got your business working like a well-oiled machine and it's making money. Guess what? Now it's time to put it on steroids and have massive growth. And this is what I call the maximize phase. And this is where now we're going to look for new revenue opportunities. This is where we're really going to add high profit centers. This could be expansion. This could be anything and everything that will take their business to this brand new, amazing level. And a lot of times, Cathy, people maximize before they do any of the other steps. And I guess if we have to go back, that's probably why 87% of them fail. Yeah. And in some industries, 97%, like in the contracting and trade space, 97% of businesses fail in 10 years. 97%. It is such a small fraction.
It is, and it's so sad because it doesn't have to happen.
Nope.
I know that you probably did this all, systematically, but I just love I'm going to call it the eyes equation. You're systemizing, you're maximizing, you're analyzing, you're visualizing. So the eyes equation is what was coming up for me. But yeah, having a process to really look at it, because we go into business and then we just go do it. We wing it. We wing it. We have, and I understand, because I did the same thing. As you said,
I have too.
I mean, we don't know any better. We don't know what we don't know. I remember when I started my first business, and then I brought on a partner, and we had to change everything, and it was very overwhelming, because I knew then what I didn't know the first time.
Right.
So I knew all these things that had to be put into place, which was great, except that it was pretty overwhelming, because when I did it the first time, just because somebody said, oh, don't you have that? Or didn't you do that? Then you slowly added it, but, well, I love that. I love that 6 steps, and it makes so much sense, that we have all those pieces in place so that we can move. And, and I think it's having somebody from the outside looking in, because
that knows what they're doing too.
Right. Yeah.
You have to have somebody that knows what. Oh, you actually bring up a good point. How many people look for their spouse who has a job, or they ask their neighbor, or they ask a family member who has no business marketing or sales expertise, and they're just out there, or they ask someone who was in business 40 years ago, and we know business has evolved big time. In just what I said about the traditional growth to scaling, we have an opportunity to scale our business today. We didn't have that opportunity before. It was like you get in, you do the work, you work the business, and you just pray you squeak out a profit. Yeah. The hope method. Hope is not a strategy, right?
Right. Yeah. When we don't have, and I think the very first thing you said, visualize, having a goal,
Mhm.
and knowing that the road's going to curve and maybe you're going to go off in another direction, but you have to have a place that you're going to. You have to have a destination that you're trying to reach, because without that, we just flutter around and we
Yes.
just go from this to that, and this idea sounds good and that idea sounds good.
Right. Yeah, the shiny object syndrome, right?
Right,
And
right.
we see that more with entrepreneurs, but even like business owners. A good example of this is in my Facebook group yesterday. I don't remember. I put up some kind of question. What would help? What would make the most impact in your business right now if you had it? And somebody put, and I haven't responded back to her yet. I need to, but she put like a biofeed, machine or equipment or something like that. And I don't know if she's a chiropractor. I need to reach out to her and find out. But that is exactly how business owners think. And so in my mind, I'm looking at that going, okay, so I don't know what this machine costs, but it's probably expensive, right? If you're thinking, but is there a way, this is a good example, is there a way that you could accomplish the same thing without going out and spending $20,000 on a machine? And that's the thing business owners don't get, right? There's a lot of times ways that they could do things differently, but they're always looking for how to spend more money. They always think the answer is spend more money, spend more money, spend more money, spend more money. That's going to grow your business. And just like I said with the plumber, $168,000 to bring in another plumber, right? Spend more money.
And I think that the opposite is also true. Those people who won't spend any money on
Oh, well, you can't grow a business like that.
Right. But you know
Right.
what? I mean, there's these two totally in
Right.
pieces, and you have to come back into the middle of that, of spending money or not spending money,
Yes.
because we have to find out, and also what's going to work for you and your situation and your business. And even though all businesses are the same, they're also different.
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know and being able to have somebody help you through that. Well, let's just take a moment and a break from here and listen, and as we hear from our sponsor, and then we'll come back with some more questions for Anne.
Sounds great.
As a business owner, are you ready to put the burden of financial worries behind you and start living the dream of having a profitable business? Are you ready to start paying yourself on a regular basis, increase your profits, and build a financial foundation to create the successful business you've always wanted? Our new online course called the Miracle Money Method will do all that plus so much more. Step-by-step implementation with videos, audio, transcripts, and worksheets and checklists, all to help you have a financially successful business. With 100% guarantee, you'll have nothing to lose. So check out the miraclemoneymethod.com today. So, Anne, let's talk about, I know that you help people in marketing and, so many different ways. We just talked about all the ways you help somebody, but is there, how do you help a business really stand out in this highly competitive industry? And now, we're in 2020 and our worlds have all been turned upside down.
Oh my gosh, that is such a great question. So there's a little bit different process in small business owners, say like a plumbing company, a roofer, than there is in a professional. So a professional has certain ways they need to stand out. In other words, they need to build their personal brand. They need to be seen as the expert for what they do. They have to be visible. They need to build their audience or build their list or whatever, and market in that way. A lot of times, leveraging stages or doing workshops or doing seminars, those types of things can help those professionals get clients and build their business. But if they don't look like the expert, then they look like everyone else. So you've got to look like the specialist. And that can be done multiple ways depending on the person, but that's the professional side. Now with the small business side, mostly we're talking their website, right? Where they're maybe driving traffic or maybe they're out networking. And it's just as important for them to look, they have both professionals and small business owners have to put themselves in a category of one. And the way they do that is to leverage what they do really, really well. And they need to create the marketing message or positioning, as I call it, that will basically make their competition irrelevant, because they're the only one that can back this up. So I'm going to use a small business, for example. They are, if you think about a plumbing company, if you go to multiple websites, you're going to see the same thing. We do this, we do drain cleaning, and we fix your toilets, and we do some pumps, and we do all of this stuff, and they all look the same. Nobody looks different. All right. So if I'm a consumer and I'm Googling because I need a plumber, how do I know which plumber I need to buy my hot water heater from? How do I have any idea? But if one company has positioned themselves as the hot water heater expert, who will I probably buy from? And let's say they say, we can get it to you same day or next day. And we can put it in 2 hours or 3 hours, right? So now they've set themselves completely apart in the industry. And I'll give you an example of this. I did this with a plumbing company. And I don't know why I'm using plumbing companies. I work with a lot of them, so I guess that's why. But
one always tends to bring, kind of stick in our mind.
Right.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we did is when you set yourself apart in the industry, you have to make sure that what you are promoting is a hot button issue, or it's important to your customers and clients. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. They're like, oh, we have better quality, or, oh, we give better customer service. Yeah. Well, who else can say that? Everyone, right? That doesn't make you look like an expert. That doesn't grab somebody and say, ooh, I should do business with you. So I worked with a plumbing company, and one of the things that we talked about with his ideal clients and who his best customers were that weren't like out there price shopping them. And, we found that time was their most valuable thing. They were more concerned with time than they were with money, which are great people, right? Those are great clients and customers to get because they're not price shopping. And so what we did was we actually created a positioning statement for him that on-time guarantee, and also you have to understand plumbing companies, half of them don't show, half of them never show on time, or they give you this 8-hour window. We'll be here between this time and this time. Well, if you are a professional that's taking off work to be there for the plumbing guy to show up or the plumber to show up, how frustrating is it if you have to take all day off work or whatever? So we knew who his ideal clients were, and we knew that time was their most valuable resource. And so we positioned his statement front and center on his website, on all of his marketing materials, on-time guarantee, or your service fee is free. So what that did was completely set him apart from everyone else. Hey, we're not going to charge you. If we don't do what we say we're going to do, we're not going to charge you. And now you have to be able to back it up. And they were able to do that. And I think in the course of a year that we worked together, they only gave away one $79 service fee. But I have to tell you, it exploded their growth, exploded it. And so if small business owners or professionals can come up with something that is a hot button issue for their perfect ideal customers or clients, and they can leverage that and they can get that into their message, into all of their marketing, and it has to be something that other people wouldn't necessarily say, but it's super, super important to your customers. That's how you make your competition irrelevant.
That is awesome. I love that. And I love how you defined it for service people, industry, and then trade industry or small business industry, because they are two different models.
Yes.
And and I think that's helpful. Oh, that's wonderful. And, and I think marketing is one of the hardest things for small businesses and entrepreneurs, because they know what they do,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't look at it, like you said, for the benefit. What do they do that,
right.
What does their customer really need and really want from them?
Yeah. Why would they want to do business with you over every other, 10,000 plumbing companies that are out there, 10,000 business coaches, right? And, I always say, one of the things I always say in my business is, hey, I'm going to make you probably 5 to 10 times or more money than you ever pay me. That's a market dominating position, right? And I know that I can back that up. And I would never take on a client where I couldn't back that up, at least without being upfront with them about that.
Right.
And so that's a market dominating position. So if you can figure out what a market dominating position is for you that makes you completely different, makes you stand out and be different for what you do, then you won't have competition. It really will be irrelevant. And the people that will want what you are saying you can do, those things that are important to them, you'll be the person that they want. And I would say it needs to be a bold statement. It needs to be something that people would go, wow, like this is a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's wonderful. So, if you could give just one piece of advice to help business owners have more success in their business, what would that be?
Oh, well, that's pretty easy. Work with an expert, work with a specialist. Okay, so I kind of want to say this too, because I know your experience, you know my experience, but all business coaches and consultants are not created equal. I just want to throw that out there. There are a lot of people out there, I say posing as business coaches and business consultants because they bought into somebody's organization or they bought into a program. Look, nothing wrong with all that stuff and all those tools, but you cannot take someone who's been in the trenches, built multiple businesses, sold multiple businesses. Only 20% of businesses are even saleable if you ask a business broker. So you can't take someone that has that kind of massive experience and has worked in, I don't know, I think it's over 50 different industries now that I've worked in to help business owners. You can't compare that to somebody who says, oh, I think my next phase in life is I'm going to join this organization and they're going to teach me how to be a business coach. Really? So I would not just say get a specialist or work with a coach or a consultant, but you also need to make sure that they know what they're doing and they have the experience to back up what they are doing. And also business coach, I don't even like to use that term anymore, really. I say consultant because business coaches can mean a lot of things, a lot of things. It might mean, I'll help you get your Facebook page up and going for your business. That's not a business coach. I'll help you with your mindset, to help you with those limiting beliefs. I see a lot of people out there calling themselves a business coach because they do mindset work. I don't call that a business coach, but so make sure that also when you are searching for someone to work with, actually, you don't need to look any further. Cathy and I, if you're watching this podcast, Cathy or I, either one, but make sure that you make sure that the person can help you with what you need help with and that they have all the pieces to help you with what you need. If you need help with marketing, then that's what you need to be searching for. If you need help with profitability, growing your business, productivity, that's what you need to ask the question, is this an area that you specialize in or you can help me with? Because a lot of business coaches only know how to do one thing. They only know how to help you build your team, or they only know how to help you close more sales. They don't have the gamut of be profitable and add new income streams and market yourself to make your competition irrelevant and make more sales. They don't have all of that experience. And so what you end up with is a lot of different people that you end up having to work with, which is, in my opinion, is not a business consultant.
Right. And I have to agree with you, even though, and I never started using business coach until my clients started using that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more about, helping them implement it, helping them, is taking it to a whole nother level with what you and I do. It's not about coaching and saying, okay, try and figure out what you need to do because, and that's what coaching is about, is helping you dig a little bit deeper and helping you figure out what you need to do. Mm-hmm. Not somebody that understands, knows like you said, the different industries, worked with different industries, and really understands the in and out of running a business. That is so much. Yeah.
And you bring up a good point. The reason I switched from calling myself a coach, because when I first started, I did do that. I called myself a coach. And yes, I'm a cheerleader, right? Rah, rah. If you think about a coach, they've got the game plan. But if you think about a coach, they're telling their players what to do. And in the marketplace, coaching is not defined as telling people what to do. That's more consulting. So really, I'm a hybrid, but I call myself a consultant because I either I am typically, for the most part, directing them. I'm not pulling it from them. If they knew what to do, sometimes they know and they just need somebody to, hold their feet to the fire sometimes. But a lot of times they don't know. And if they have to try to figure everything out themselves, they're probably not going to end up any better off than where they are, right? And so that's why I like to use consultant but the other piece of that is I also have a team of people, or I have a lot of resources or a lot of connections where if there's something that they need help with, if I don't want to do it myself, like the actual do it yourself or hands-on thing, I know people that I can refer them to. I know people I can give them, to get that done. And that is also the value of a coach or a consultant. They should have a good network. They should have, if I'm telling you, hey, you need a new website, then I should be able to give you the website designer that can get it done for you, right? And now you obviously have a choice if you want to use them, but I have to come with resources. And that's a huge, valuable piece. And they're people that have already vetted, and they're people that I've already probably used or used for other clients. So that's a really valuable piece that can save them money, can save them time, can save them heartache and headaches, along with everything else that I can guide them on.
I think that, I don't think we can stress that enough, that it's the experience, it's the years, it's the reputation we have built among our industry and our associates that we've worked with, and we build and we have resources. Because we can't do everything. We can't be everything. And when you find somebody who's everything for
for nothing, right?
Right. But we do what we do best, and we know those other people who do what they do best, and we can bring those to the table. So that's so important.
Right. Well, that was probably more than one point, right?
Right. But I think it's an excellent point and something so valuable that I'm glad you really brought that up. So what's the biggest aha moment you've had when it comes to your business?
That I had in the past?
Yeah.
That we have control. I worked with a coach. In my fourth and fifth business, I was already running two. So I was expanding. This was in the recession too, by the way. I was expanding and opening two more businesses, which was just crazy. And we put everything on the line. But those two new businesses, I could not get above break even. And I really struggled. They weren't losing money, but they were not making money either. And I was running back and forth. All four businesses were about 45 minutes apart. So I was literally running myself ragged, trying to keep these two businesses going, which we were in sale mode on those, so I couldn't let them drop, and then trying to get the other two going. And I hired my first coach. And I remember saying to her, even though I don't even know how I had the success in business I did. I could have had a lot more had I really known what I was doing. But but I remember saying to her when she showed me some of the mistakes that I was making, especially in my marketing, I remember saying, you mean I have control over this stuff? Like how we're like, a lot of business owners they're a victim of the economy, or they're a victim of competition. I was all those people. I played, that was my situation in all my businesses. The economy turned, the recession, Y2K, 9/11. I struggled through all of those things. The market changed, competition. And when I realized that I just didn't know enough to know how to get myself beyond those situations, I wouldn't say I necessarily blamed, but I always kind of looked at it like, well, it is what it is. This is just what the hand I've been dealt. Once I really started learning about business and marketing and sales, and she showed me what I didn't know, I just became a student of, wow, wow, there's so much to know. There's so much I can do here. I have control over this and I'm responsible for my success or my failure, period. I'm responsible. The decisions that I make. I mean, yes, there are those outside things that come up, but a good example of this is we're in this pandemic. How many businesses are shut down? They say they're predicting 50%. Maybe depending on how the election ends up as we're talking today, might be more than that. But, 50% of businesses will probably close down through this pandemic. It could be even more. And the reason that's happening is because people weren't prepared. They weren't running their business with sustainability. They were basically riding the coattails of a great economy. And so that's what I mean when I say you have control. You get the fundamentals in place. Learn how to market, learn how to close sales, learn about business, work with someone that can teach you everything that you need to know to have this amazing, successful, sustainable business. And yes, it might take dips, but have you planned for that? You and I do the same thing. I make them start a savings account and I make them, put money aside, emergency funds, things like that. Have you done those things in your business? Because if you haven't, you're one check away, 1 week away from closing your doors. And so you have control. That was the biggest aha for me. I never thought I did. I thought it was like, it's left to chance, right? And a lot of business owners think like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think on the other side of that is I totally agree with you. And then on the other side of that, having too much control, not too much control, but being
that's a good point. Like, don't let go of anything.
Yeah, don't let go,
right.
No,
nobody can do it like I can. Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I could tell stories about moi.
Yeah.
Same thing. No one can do it like I can. Yeah. But first of all, you can't be great at everything. So get over yourself. And I say that with a lot of love and a lot of experience of how I was that person.
Yeah.
And no, we business owners, what we know, we stand in our own way if you don't learn how to get out of your own way.
Oh, that is just a wonderful, wonderful point. I am so glad. So, sorry that we're kind of running out of time here. We're going to have to do this again because we could go on all day.
Let's do it. Yes, we could. It's always fun when you get a couple of people that do, we do similar, but there's a lot of differences in what we do. You help them with
I have the financial background and that's where I come from and you come from, the other end of it. So it is so important. So let people know how they can find you and get a hold of you.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, if you would like to see more on my Scale Like a Boss series, I have a 4-video series that's free on my website. And you can go, I walk you through in a lot more detail and I even give you strategies you can implement into your company. And so you can go to scalelikeaboss.com. Very simple. But if you want to actually look, take a look at me or everything that I've done, you can go to my website and learn more about my services. And that is CardenCoaching.com. And that's in my old website and I've just never changed it. If you're a professional though, I have a different website. Here's a marketing tip for you. So small business owners and Carden Coaching, but if you're a professional, you can go to AnnLCarden.com. And they're both really set up like we talked about from a marketing standpoint, speaking right to those particular businesses. So.
Awesome. Oh, so glad to have you here today. And again, like I said, we'll have to do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
So I will before we leave, I want to just again give you a word from our sponsor, the Productivity Experts. And if you are a business owner, consultant, a professional, and you are ready to put the burden of financial worries behind you and start living the dream of having a profitable business, you might want to check out our new course called The Miracle Money Method. And it's a step-by-step implementation to help you to make sure you're getting paid on a regular basis and you're increasing your profits, and including, like Ann just talked about, setting aside that reserve account so that when things happen, you still have a way to create and continue your business. So with a 100% guarantee, you have nothing to lose. So go to miraclemoneymethod.com. So again, Ann, thank you so much for today. And we're going to have to do this again.
Thanks so much, Cathy. This has been a lot of fun. I hope we gave a lot of value today.
I think we did.